This lump of wood has been sitting under my bench for a number of years now, and it's really dried out. It's quite light, but I think recalling using this wood before, it's a bit of almost concrete oak. I remember it was pretty difficult in turning. So this piece is like 6 inches wide, about 7 inches deep. So I'm going to get 2 bowls out of this. I reckon I'll cut it directly in half and get a lump on the lathe and start turning. Let's see how she goes, guys. Come follow me. It's just over 12 inches. We'll call it 12 inches. So I'm going to cut this directly in half, around about 6.5, I'd say. Get it in there for approximate. It's all going to be turned around on the bench on the lathe anyway. As you see, I've got it between centres, so I'm going to make this a little rounder than what it is. It's looking pretty square, if you can tell me. So going to use the Hunter's carbine cupped as the rougher. As you can see, this grain is pretty thick, so I'm not really sure how this is going to go, but here we are. Yeah, that's a pretty piece of dry wood for sure. Okay, that's the foot nicely turned on the bottom of the bowl. Going to use the 150 Vic Mark to put that in and get it all turned around and start doing the edge once it's turned. Just a little tip here, guys, if you're turning a foot on the bottom and there's a bowl that's got a lot of meat in it like this one here, you would need to get it turned earlier around in the chuck to hold it, otherwise it's going to become ovalized or dead off-centered. Well, there's always a danger of an off-centering there. Anyway, might do a bit of an OG base and make the top part the bowl shape. More of a classic Roman look, I think. That's where we're going to go. It's pretty hard wood, this. Beautiful figuring and spaltings here. There's a bit of a notch here, I guess. I think I'm just going to ignore that and just keep it into the piece itself. Going to make this a little deeper here and a little rounder. More of a curve going, and I'm going to get a nice lip, a fairly large lip on the top here. Just to balance out the top and the bottom. And yeah, got to keep this tool using the 5/8 bowl gouge here. Got to keep this extremely sharp, as it does tend to tear out extraordinarily. A few wormholes going down the bottom here from the spalting side of things. May use some filler for that. Anyway, onwards we go. I'm pretty happy with the shape on the outside. I'm going to leave this fairly wide lip and start hollowing out the bowl around about this size. Well, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Anything can happen. Carrying on. It's about as smooth as it could possibly be with this type of wood. It's been a long trek, but we've got to the bottom of it now. So I'm going to get on to some sanding. I'm going to start off at probably around 80 grit, because some tool marks there I've really got to get rid of, and the amount of scraping and bowl gouging is not going to do any more than we've already got here. I'm sure we can take it off on the sand, so I won't bore you with the sanding issue, and meet you back here when I've finished. I'm back, and this has been sanded off to 320, and it's come up really nice. Just the sanding, I can feel that the finishing is really going to bring this out. So what I'm going to use is Acks paste, abrasive paste first, and then the Acks polishing and restoring paste, and finally I'll use the Mylands friction polish to bring it up a nice sheen. So let's get stuck in. Now we're using the Acks abrasive polish. Just be fairly liberal with it. Just apply it without any spinning, and just get the surface pretty well covered with the paste itself. Just the way it works is you apply it, leave it there for a few seconds, and then you're going to spin the piece and take all that abrasive off on the rag. Got to get right in there. It's a beautiful grain. I can't believe how nice it's turned up from a piece of wood that was sitting fairly neglected most of its life under the bench, drying out, getting for the day when it's going to be thrown on the lathe and made into something beautiful as this, if I say so myself. Now with the Acks polishing and restoring wax, it has a high content of the carnauba wax, which is a little bit better than just beeswax. It comes up with a nice finish. So again, being extremely liberal with this on the piece and letting it set in the wood. So this is going on top of the abrasive wax. Now with a clean piece of just plain old blue shop towel, taking off the wax and giving it a good rubbing. I started off at around about 500 RPM just to give it a bit of a rubbing. And it just gets the polish really spread out on the piece. And generally increase it up to around about 1200 RPM. Now finally I'm using the Mylands friction polish. Again, I fairly liberal with this and pour this onto the actual surface, one surface at a time, because this stuff, it kind of can get into dribble form if you put too much on. I start the revs at around 500, and given the pure of the name of the material itself, it's a friction polish, so you've really got to get some revs up and a nice clean towel dry to get the heat up and for it to set or adhere on the surface. Now I'm being ultra careful here with my hand, because this thing's spinning around a great rate of knots. Just using 3 fingers and pulling all the other fingers right into my hand and being very protective. There's no chance of it catching, just keeping it on the wall. I can feel the heat inside the bowl now, so it's really getting a nice sheen. I can feel it without even looking at it. Okay, I'll just stop it there and see if I can get a reasonable shot of what it's looking like on the inside. It's hard to pick it up on the camera. When I do some finishing, you should be able to see. In fact, you know, when I'm looking at the grain inside here, it's almost like got a 3D effect of the grain. Looking at it with my own eyes, it's kind of a 3D depth to the actual grain itself. Super smooth. It looks like you might have a lot of tool marks there, but there's nothing. It's very, very, very smooth. Yeah, so carry on until that's done. So it's coming off the truck now. Going to turn it around, probably on a friction chuck. Get this off the lathe. So we're going to take off the foot and make a little hollow and a place for where the maker's badge goes. So on the drill press, taking that nub away and make room for the maker's badge. A little bit of medium CA glue, not too much, probably a little bit more. And then a spattering of accelerator on the back of the coin itself, putting it into its place. Give it a bit of a squeeze. Perfect fit. Now you might remember at the beginning of the video we started off with a double the size piece of wood like this, and I cut it in half on the bandsaw, and then the project began. So you can see, amazingly, that's how it started and this is how it finished. I've got to say, it's come up a real treat, and the Roman look, as I'd want to call it, has come out quite an amazing piece. If I can get in fairly close without defocusing the camera, you could probably see what I was talking about in terms of, well, character piece here. The 3D effect on that grain. I'm trying to find a piece here that it's actually on this side here. See how the grain has really come out extremely nicely. And you're probably not going to get it on camera, but when you see it in reality, you look at the grain and it has depth, a three-dimensional depth, yet it's very, very smooth. So here it is, project's finished. I'm very pleased with it anyway. It's turned out really well. Maker's medallion on the bottom there. By the way, for those that are interested, I get those on Etsy. There's quite a few makers there that make these things, all different places. I think I get this from Croatia. I can't remember the name. I'll leave a link below. So there it is. It's a 7 inches tall and 6 inches wide diameter. That's it for this time, guys. Next week. Cheers.